I researched newspaper journalist. There are many qualifications a person needs to have to become a successful newspaper journalist. This area of work is open to graduates of any field. Those with an undergraduate's degree in journalism, such as English or writing, are more likely to become successful. In some companies, editors may be more interested in those with a graduate's degree or a specialist degree subject, such as economics or science. Having experience and personal qualities are extremely important. Entering without a degree is more or less impossible in most cases now, because the majority of entrants to the newspaper industry are already graduates. Graduates can choose from numerous pre-entry routes into newspaper journalism. There are choices like full-time or one-year postgraduate courses, which result in master's degrees. There are also ones like Fast Track, which are 18 to 20-week postgraduate courses. Students also need to take a minimum of 2 secondary classes in areas like sports journalism or media law reporting. You will then need to provide a portfolio or logbook of your work. You must pass the diploma in journalism in order to have the professional senior qualifications, which demonstrate all-around competence in journalism skills. You would take this after being in relevant employment for about 18 months. This is either called the National Certificate Examination or National Qualification in Journalism. Students entering with a postgraduate's degree is possible. This is if the NCJT is a accredited qualification or includes relevant work experience. Postgraduate students from subjects not related to journalism will still have to gain experience and writing skills. They also may need to have a relevant pre-entry course in journalism. Entry with an HDN or foundations degree is possible if you have relevant skills and experience. Some foundation degrees in journalism are recognized by the NCTJ, which includes a 17-week foundation course in journalism and press association training. To become a candidate, you will need to have some skills which include good organization skills, the ability to work under pressure to meet tight deadlines. They also need to have accurate spelling, grammar, and punctuation skills, along with strong written and oral communication skills. Their schedule needs to be flexible, and they need to have integrity. Reporters working in newspaper magazines have the lowest average salaries. When starting out as a trainee reporter, your salary could be anywhere from $16,500 to $20,500 a year. Although there is wide variations between regional and national newspapers, salaries from people with around 5 years experience will make about $34,000, while people with decades of experience or more will make anywhere from $48,000 to $55,000. In order to become a good or a successful newspaper journalist, you must have, or there are many responsibilities that you have to meet. Attending press conferences and asking questions is a must. Interviewing people in a range of different circumstances and answering the phones on the news desk and reacting to breaking news stories are something they have to deal with. Working closely with news teams, photographers, and editors, and creating and uploading news content for the newspaper website is also one of their responsibilities. Being a newspaper journalist also comes with benefits. You get to travel to different areas around the world and meet all kinds of new people. They also gain access to exclusive events and get to meet and interview celebrities and interesting people. They also get to witness history firsthand and get to work independently. The benefits for a news journalist also include paid time off, such as sick days and vacations. Some of the not so good things about being a newspaper journalist, are long and often unsociable hours, which can include weekends and public holidays. They also have to work in a demanding and ever-changing industry because new things happen every day that they have to report on. Often working in a city or town newspaper office where there is no free parking or free childcare facilities, and there's sometimes not even any staff restrooms. They also risk death or injury if covering a riot, war zone, or other violent disturbance. Being blamed for bad news or being seen as the enemy by members of the public when covering sensitive news or events is something they have to deal with. Three of the most famous, I guess, newspaper journalists include Robert Fisk, Kate Adie, and Diane Sawyer. Robert Fisk is a British journalist and best-selling author for Maidstone. He has received several awards, including the British Press Awards International Journalist of the Year, which he has been voted for 7 times in total, and holds more British and international journalism awards than any other foreign correspondent. He was one of the very few Western journalists who got to interview Al Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden during the 1990s and managed to do it 3 times. He is known for his fearlessness, and Fisk has extensively covered the Persian Gulf War, the war in Afghanistan, and the Iraq War between 1990 and 2003. Kate Adie, her full name is Catherine Kate Adie, and she is also a British journalist who currently presents from our own correspondent on the BBC Radio 4, as well as doing freelance journalism. Her most well-known work was as chief news correspondent at BBC News, where she covered many war zones and was rewarded the Officer of the Order of the British Empire Award in 1993 for excellence in journalism. But her big break came when she famously reported live and unscripted on the London Iranian embassy siege in 1980 while crouched behind a car door amongst exploding smoke bombs and soldiers. She is also a best-selling author in several books, including her autobiography, The Kindness of Strangers, Nobody's Child, and Fighting on the Home Front, The Legacy of Women in World War I. And lastly, Diane Sawyer. She is a American journalist who was the first female 60 Minutes correspondent and most recently anchored for ABC World News until September 2014. She currently does high-profile interviews and specials for ABC News, beginning her career at the local news station and then at the White House press office in 1970. At the time there were very few female journalists, and she was considered a great pioneer for the women who followed in her footsteps. During her long-standing career, Sawyer has anchored Primetime Live 2020 as well as ABC's morning show Good Morning America, which she held for much longer than anticipated due to her popularity in the position. When she also received an Emmy Award in 2000. She also won an Emmy in 2007 for her reporting on ABC World News, along with numerous others like the Peabody Award and the Robert F. Kennedy Journalism Award during her time on the show. Sawyer has frequented the annual Forbes magazine list of the world's 100 most powerful women since 2004.